very video I did earlier, once again, I pulled out the fact that I think Caitlin Clark is half Steph Curry, other half Larry Bird. All right? Larry Bird was a
Call you the female version of Steph Curry, or do I need to call Steph Curry the male version of Caitlin Clark?
Steph Curry didn't just praise Caitlin Clark, he compared her shooting release to his own and called her the total package. Her confidence, range, and ability to light up a crowd have even NBA legends taking notice. But while she's rewriting the rules, the WNBA is scrambling behind the scenes, and what they just did to cover their tracks might surprise you.
Saw somebody break down the release time, which was pretty much identical to mine. And then her just confidence, you can't help but watch when she plays, where she's shooting from, the range, the confidence, the flair. Like, she's a performer. It's crazy, though, just because her shot it's like that. It's at that level.
What if I told you that Steph Curry, one of the greatest shooters in NBA history, didn't just compliment Caitlin Clark, he basically admitted she's built from the same mold as him. During a recent interview, Curry revealed something that would stun a lot of people: Caitlin's shooting release time is identical to his own. Think about that, one of the fastest, deadliest releases in basketball, and Caitlin Clark already matches it without ever playing a single NBA minute. Most players spend their entire careers chasing what Caitlin already has. And the craziest part? That's just scratching the surface.
There's some skill right now that's like, and she moving fast. Like, it look like she don't look like, it look like everybody on that court is way slower than her when she get into her stuff.
Steph didn't just stop at her shot. He pointed out her insane confidence, a kind of fearless energy that completely takes over a game the second she touches the ball. It's the way she steps past half court and defenders immediately panic, knowing she could pull up and sink a three from anywhere. That kind of presence is rare, even in the NBA. And for a lot of so-called superstars in women's basketball, it's downright embarrassing that a college player already carries herself with more dominance than they ever have.
Smooth, but she was always leading that. She always had the ball in her hands. Everybody was playing off of her. She just commanded the whole game. I was like, who the hell is this? She is nice. It was like, oh, she the best player in the country. I was like, oh, damn. I see it now. Like, you know,
Right.
like when you walk in and you don't even know who anybody is, and they just be
Yeah.
like, yo, that's the best player in the country right there. It's just like, yo, that hits you out of nowhere. Like,
But here's where Steph exposed something even bigger. While everyone's hyping up Caitlin's deep shots, they're missing what really sets her apart: her floor game. Her passing, her timing, her ability to read defenses before they even react. It's elite. She's not some one-dimensional shooter who gets hot and disappears. She's running the whole offense, breaking down defenders, setting up teammates, and doing it all without breaking a sweat. Compared to the slow, clunky play styles we're used to seeing in the WNBA, Caitlin looks like she's playing a completely different sport. And honestly, it's not a great look for the players who were supposed to be carrying the league before she showed up.
And I think he's one of the best players to ever play the game. So to have him say something like that, and I remember that moment he was talking about super vividly, one of the best memories from AAU basketball. So no, that's super cool. And anytime an NBA star talks.
Steph didn't just talk about her skills either. He talked about the energy she brings, and this is where the real shift is happening. Every time Caitlin Clark steps into an arena, the atmosphere changes. Fans pack the building. The noise level skyrockets. People care again. She's not just playing the game, she's dragging the entire women's basketball world into a new era, whether the old guard likes it or not. And a lot of people in the WNBA right now should be worried, because Caitlin Clark isn't coming to join their system, she's coming to take it over.
Steph Curry.
I mean, you hear people talking about you and throwing out those comparisons. Speak about how that makes you feel, about how you've just taken the world by storm because of your shooting prowess.
Yeah, I really feel like I'm still kind of in a dream in a real world. I mean, it's kind of.
The fact that Steph Curry, a four-time NBA champion, openly said all this about Caitlin tells you everything you need to know. He's not throwing out charity compliments. He's not pandering. He sees what's happening, and whether anyone wants to admit it or not, the future of women's basketball has already arrived, and her name is Caitlin Clark. Nobody ever thought the WNBA would finally figure it out, but here we are. For the first time ever, they're putting preseason games on national television. After years of being trapped behind paywalls and forgotten apps, they suddenly realized they needed to make a serious move or risk losing everything. It's not just a business decision, it's survival. Because with the rise of players like Caitlin Clark, the demand isn't just growing, it's exploding. And the old guard knows they're either about to ride the wave or get completely wiped out.
A white girl in Iowa do it to a bunch of black girls. Well, of course. That made it like, oh, that gained my respect. That gained my respect.
I hear you. You're
like,
right.
That's like, oh, she didn't do this to some other little white girls that was over here in Colorado, wherever. She did it to some girls from LSU who we thought was some dogs.
Defending champs.
And put them on their knee and spanked them. And so I know, but I didn't expect that.
The craziest part? This wasn't some master plan years in the making. It was pure reaction. The WNBA watched fans pour into arenas last season, begging to see the new faces of the league, and finally understood what everyone else already knew. People aren't tuning in for the same tired storylines anymore. They're here for something new, something real, and something better. The preseason games that used to mean nothing? Now they're the hottest ticket the league has. But that wasn't the whole story. Because the way they're doing it tells you even more. Free previews, easier access, no pricey packages, they're throwing everything against the wall to see what sticks. ESPN, NBA TV, ION, they're desperate to get eyeballs anywhere they can. It's a full-on scramble to save face after years of ignoring the obvious. The truth is, if players like Caitlin Clark, Paige Buchers, and Angel Reese weren't setting social media on fire, the league wouldn't have lifted a finger. They didn't expand access because they wanted to, they did it because they had to. And here's the real kicker, even now, there's doubt it'll be enough. Fans have options. They can smell when something's being forced. If the WNBA really wants to cash in on this new wave, they'll need more than free streams and a few nationally televised games. They'll need to clean up the real problems, the politics, the favoritism, the endless drama that's dragged the league down for years. Otherwise, this big move will just be another missed opportunity in a long line of failures. At the end of the day, this sudden scramble to get preseason games on TV isn't a celebration, it's a warning. The WNBA is running out of chances. And if they blow this one, they won't get another.
Monday, the league announced that 4 preseason games will run on national television. The first time in league history that multiple exhibition games will air nationally. 14 of the 15 preseason games will also be broadcast on WNBA League Pass, with the lone exception airing only on ESPN.
It's crazy how fast people change their tune when the pressure's on. Suddenly, the WNBA has decided that 4 preseason games are important enough to air nationally. After years of acting like preseason didn't matter, now they're racing to put games on every network they can find. It's almost like they finally realized, if they don't showcase their new stars now, someone else will. And the panic is showing. But they didn't exactly go all in either. Out of 15 total preseason games, only 4 made it to national TV. The rest? Thrown onto WNBA League Pass, a platform that most casual fans still don't even know how to find. It's a half step, not a leap. And to make things even more obvious, the one game they're treating like gold, the Indiana Fever facing a Brazilian team, is being locked exclusively behind ESPN. No free stream. No easy access. If you want to see Caitlin Clark, you better go through the official channels first. This isn't about growing the game, it's about cashing in while the spotlight's still hot. Caitlin Clark is the reason for the frenzy, and everyone knows it. The league isn't boosting preseason coverage because they believe in the product, they're desperate to ride the wave of new attention before it crashes. But that wasn't the whole story. Because the way they're playing favorites shows where their real priorities are. Instead of making every team accessible, they're focusing almost all their national coverage around a few players. It's a gamble, and it exposes just how much the WNBA depends on a handful of names to stay relevant. If even one of these stars stumbles, the entire plan falls apart. No backup strategy. No real investment in the broader league. Just clinging to a few headline grabbers and hoping it's enough. At the end of the day, putting 4 games on TV isn't the breakthrough the WNBA wants you to think it is. It's a last-ditch scramble to stay afloat while new faces are still drawing clicks. If they think throwing a few preseason games on ESPN and League Pass is going to fix years of problems, they're about to get a rude awakening.
Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, the rest of the Fever will also be on national television via NBA TV on May 3rd for their preseason opener against the Washington Mystics. Lucy Olson might get some time in that game. Being a preseason game, maybe, just maybe,
the Indiana Fever just hit the jackpot, and the WNBA knows it. Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston's games are now getting primetime exposure on NBA TV, something that would have been unthinkable just a year ago. Suddenly, the league is acting like it's been behind these stars all along. But the truth is simple: without Caitlin Clark's insane fan base and Aaliyah Boston's growing dominance, the Fever would have stayed buried where the league usually keeps its small market teams, invisible.
I'm here to show you guys the Indiana Fever are making it very clear that they're not playing games this year. Not just the players, the organization, the social media team, everybody behind all the editing, they are making it very clear. The designers, the Indiana Fever, were the organization.
The decision to air their games nationally isn't about rewarding hard work. It's about cashing in on the hype while they still can. The WNBA finally figured out what fans have been screaming for: real talent, real excitement, and real stars. Not the same recycled drama from a handful of players who couldn't fill an arena if their lives depended on it. Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston are dragging an entire franchise back into the spotlight, and it's exposing just how broken the system has been. And here's where it gets even crazier. While NBA TV coverage sounds impressive, you have to ask, why weren't these games already being treated like major events before Caitlin showed up? Why did it take a media frenzy and record-breaking college ratings to wake the league up? It's almost like they were willing to let talent rot in the dark until someone else made it impossible to ignore. But that wasn't the whole story.
Vibrant. We have the personality in which we want to win. We know that, we've come a long way regarding our culture, and I think for us, we want to be that team that people don't know about, that has no filters, no anything. We kind of are who we are, and at the end of the day.
Because putting Clark and Boston on national TV isn't just about celebrating rising stars, it's a full-on scramble to save the league's sinking image. It's no secret that preseason ratings for the WNBA have been a joke for years. Now, with 2 young superstars leading the charge, they're hoping fans forget just how badly the league neglected its own future. It's not leadership, it's desperation dressed up as strategy.
I think that we play basketball the right way. We love playing in front of our fans. We're building a championship-winning team. We're excited about it. We're excited about all the pieces that we've added, a great coaching staff, and we're fired up and working hard. And I think we play basketball the right way, and we give our fans a lot to cheer about, and also we love our teammates and work really.
At the end of the day, Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston aren't just getting a spotlight. They're carrying the WNBA's survival on their backs. And if the league thinks it can just coast off their success without fixing its deeper problems, it's in for a rude awakening.
People tune in to watch women's basketball. I feel like they start, a lot of times they start with a player and then they fall in love with the game and the whole entire team and the whole entire league. So just to get the game moving like that in the right direction and be part of that momentum, it's awesome.
Paige Buchers is finally stepping onto the WNBA stage, but the way it's happening says more about the league's panic than her debut. She'll be making her preseason debut for the Dallas Wings against the Las Vegas Aces on ION TV, a free, over-the-air network that most people didn't even realize still existed. Let's be honest, if the WNBA truly believed in its product, they wouldn't be tossing one of their most hyped rookies onto a second-rate network buried behind digital antennas. They're not showcasing Paige. They're hiding her in plain sight. The move to ION looks like a win at first glance. Free access, no paywalls, easy to find, right? Wrong. It's a last-minute scramble to grab whatever scraps of attention they can without investing real money into a proper broadcast. Instead of treating Bucher's debut like the blockbuster event it should be, they're tossing it into the airwaves like it's an afterthought. And if you think the timing is a coincidence, think again. Because the real reason they're rushing to shove her debut out there has nothing to do with growing the league, and everything to do with fear. Fear that Caitlin Clark has already taken the spotlight. Fear that if Paige Buchers doesn't blow up immediately, the WNBA's so-called next wave will collapse before it even starts. They know the clock is ticking. They know fans are paying attention. And they're desperate to make it look like they have more than one superstar ready to carry the league. But that wasn't the whole story. Because putting Bucher's debut on a weak network isn't just lazy, it's revealing. It shows just how little trust the WNBA has in its own future. If they really believed Paige was the second coming, she'd be on ESPN, primetime, backed by every camera they could find. Instead, they're crossing their fingers that casual fans accidentally stumble onto the game while flipping channels. No hype train. No marketing blitz. Just quiet desperation disguised as opportunity. At the end of the day, Paige Buchers isn't just making her debut, she's being set up as the WNBA's next big excuse if things go south. And if they think hiding her behind forgotten networks is enough to fool the public, they're about to learn the hard way just how fast fans will tune out. Angel Reese and Hailey Van Lith are gearing up for their big preseason moment, but the way it's being handled tells a bigger story nobody's talking about. Their game with the Chicago Sky against the Brazilian national team is being aired on ION, yes, ION, a network that most people only stumble across by accident. Think about it, two of the most hyped names coming out of college, and instead of the bright lights of ESPN or TNT, they're shoved onto a channel barely anyone watches on purpose. That's not promotion. That's damage control. The WNBA wants you to believe this is all part of the master plan. We're giving fans free access, they'll say. But the truth? They're playing it safe. They're terrified Angel Reese's shaky shooting and Hailey Van Lith's inconsistencies will get exposed under the real national spotlight. Instead of hyping this game as a can't-miss showdown, they're quietly hiding it behind antennas and low-budget airwaves, hoping nobody asks the hard questions if things don't go as planned. And let's be real, the stakes are higher than anyone's admitting. Angel Reese isn't walking into the league as a proven star. She's walking in with expectations so heavy they could crush careers. One bad game, one embarrassing miss, and the internet will be ruthless. Hailey Van Lith? Same story. All the Instagram posts and hype videos in the world won't matter if she can't deliver against the second-tier team from Brazil. But that wasn't the whole story. Because this move also exposes how shaky the WNBA's youth movement really is. They're betting big on players who have the followers but haven't proven a thing yet at the pro level. And instead of setting them up for success, they're tossing them into half-baked broadcasts and hoping social media will cover the gaps. No real promotion. No real strategy. Just a lot of noise and crossed fingers behind the scenes. At the end of the day, putting Angel Reese and Hailey Van Lith on ION isn't about growing the game, it's about protecting the brand. And if the WNBA thinks this kind of smoke and mirrors rollout is enough to win over real fans, they're in for a brutal reality check. So now the WNBA wants to act like it's all about the fans. After years of gatekeeping games behind paywalls and obscure apps, they're suddenly pushing this shiny new TV strategy that's supposed to make everything feel free and easy to access. National broadcasts. Free previews. Streamable preseason matchups. Sounds great, right? But don't get fooled, this isn't generosity. It's a scramble to fix a mess they've ignored for way too long. Let's be honest, this shift didn't happen because the league suddenly had a light bulb moment. It happened because the pressure exploded. Caitlin Clark started filling arenas. Social media was flooded with clips they couldn't control. Fans were begging for coverage, and the league had no choice but to pretend like they've been listening all along. They weren't ahead of the curve. They got dragged to it. And here's where it gets interesting. The WNBA is trying to spin this as a bold investment in fan access, but most of these new offerings come with a catch. The League Pass? Still confusing. The app? Glitchy and underpromoted. The broadcasts? Spread across random networks like ION and NBA TV, platforms most casual fans don't even think to check. If this is their idea of making it easy, they're seriously out of touch with what fans actually want. But that wasn't the whole story. Because this so-called strategy is built around one thing: panic control. They saw what happened when fans got a taste of real excitement, buzzer beaters, packed college arenas, breakout stars who actually move the needle. And suddenly, they realized how outdated and stale their current setup really looked. So now it's all hands on deck, pretending like they've been building toward this moment when the truth is, they almost missed it entirely. At the end of the day, this isn't a victory lap. It's damage control dressed up as progress. And if the WNBA thinks slapping a few games on TV is enough to erase years of ignoring the fans, they've got a lot more work to do, and not much time left to do it. So hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss an update. More history's being made, and you'll want a front row seat when it happens. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.